And here we are once again, here for the Tales of Mezzorin. Another Zero episode for a character by the name of Igraine, or Igraine. I'm not sure how to necessarily pronounce
Igraine.
Igraine. So, we start on an estate for the Solari Baron of uh, Septima? Septimania?
Septimania.
Septimania. Um, and we have the heiress to this estate currently going about her daily routine as she has come back for a small pilgrimage home. And we start off with our character of the hour. So why don't we go ahead and let her describe exactly what she's doing this day?
Is it the morning?
It's morning just after breakfast.
Okay, so after breakfast, I imagine she would probably head to. The horses probably have already eaten, so she doesn't need to check on them. Probably head back up to her room to get changed because she probably is going to train in the afternoon. Um, Her armor's been polished. She polished it last night, so she doesn't need to worry about that. But she'll grab it and grab, a training sword. Um, Probably head down to it's either training grounds or it might be at the stables if she's going to train with horses. Depending on what either Talia told her to do or what her dad told her to do.
Well, it just so happens that Talia told you that she would actually be at your estate just a bit after breakfast.
Oh, well then in that case, Rain would put on actually some sort of dress in order to receive her because that's the polite thing to do. She can change it to her training gear later.
Well, as uh, as she as you make your way down to the just sort of the gateway into your estate, punctually and as always on time, Talia, the paladin of Seva, knight of Seva, um, rides in on a completely pristine white steed. This mare she's had for quite some time, the entire time that you've been in her service, and the mare never seems to get any older, never seems to tire, um, and is far more intelligent than you would expect a horse to be. But as she comes forth wearing her sort of her armor, she she smiles as she comes to a stop, and she pulls the horse to a halt and climbs down off of it.
Green curtsies, my lady.
And she'll give you sort of a bow with her head. My squire, how are you this evening or this morning?
Oh, I'm well. Would you like me to fetch a servant to take your horse?
She'll nod as she takes off her riding gloves and puts them in the saddlebag.
Green will take the reins and bring it to some sort of servant because we have those here.
An Elvari teenager is a young man by the name of Derek comes forth, and as he comes up to you, he, of course, puts one arm behind the back and one arm at his waist and bows politely, as is custom for the servants of your estate. And he takes the reins of the horse and leads it off and away back towards the stables.
Thank you, dear. My lady, is there anything I can get you? Perhaps some wine, some food.
Today I'm on business, unfortunately. Otherwise, I
Oh,
would be delighted.
well then perhaps we should head inside.
She'll nod.
Grain will lead her into one of the sitting rooms.
One of many.
Yes.
And as she comes in, she'll take the blue cloth from her shoulders, and she will hand it off to one of the attendants that comes up as soon as the door is opened. And she will sort of look around. Each time, she always seems to take stock of your estate every time you go in.
I trust your journey was pleasant.
Not as pleasant as it could be. Me and the other knights, our procession was accosted several times by some very overzealous bandits. The Merchant's Road is always fraught with danger, but these days it seems to be the ne'er-do-wells along the road seem to be more and more desperate these days.
How horrid.
It's a combination of multiple things, but the economics of the local major kingdoms and cities has certainly driven a further and further divide between the disparity of wealth. People are now stealing for food and willing to kill for it.
Should we be worried about incursions heading our way?
I don't think so, not as of yet. Every attack seemed to be unorganized and targets of opportunity, so I would say that your town is still very safe. You have high walls, and you are well guarded, well manned. And if you would like to roll a perception, and if you have it empathy, you may do so.
Sure. I don't have empathy, but I will roll perception. 3d6. Right. That's how this game works.
Mm-hmm.
10.
Not even a hint of circumspection. She's 100% leading you on in the. There's no deception in her voice. She's not hiding a damn thing.
Why would she?
Why would she indeed? So I trust that you're not planning on taking what little time we have today for training, and she'll gesture to you.
Oh, what, were we not?
Well, I didn't expect you to train in a dress.
Oh, no, this is for your reception. I can go upstairs and change.
Is there a particular place that you would like to spar?
Perhaps the field behind the castle.
She'll nod. Full kit. Live blades this time. You're getting too old and too skilled for me to pull my punches anymore, and it's time that you start having some real-world combat experience.
Yes, my lady. And if she's allowed, or if she's been dismissed, then she'll go upstairs and get changed and find a sword from the armory and be like, okay, this is fine.
As you are changing, as you're sort of getting yourself into like the your trousers and your tunic to wear underneath your armor, there is a knock at your door. Your father, who has been away on on stately affairs, makes his way in as you allow him to enter.
Drop a curtsy. It's good to see you, Father.
Light of my life, come here, let me have a look at you.
She'll go up to him to give him a hug.
And he'll return the hug, as he always does. Very warm, caring individual, and he'll, as he pulls away, puts his hands on either side of your, sort of your jaws, and like right along the jawline and neckline, as he smiles down with that that look that only an adoring parent can really give their child. I see that you're not looking for finery today. Dressing down, or is your benefactor here today?
Lady Erikson is waiting for me in the fields.
I thought I saw her retinue. So then the business of Seva then today it is.
Indeed.
He'll nod. Instead of seeing to any guests that we have today, I have a few guests of state coming. I prefer that you take the day off. While it would be nice to have you at my side today, I think that you should enjoy it. Perhaps take someone out, Lady Erikson, or perhaps one of your associates, for a bit of a day out in town, and return to me tonight for dinner.
She'll curtsy. Yes, Father.
And if you would like, you can make another perception check.
Sure. I was just about to ask.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing, but I have one stunt point.
2 stunt points, actually.
Well,
but you know
one.
nothing.
Oh, you're right. It's whatever's in the
Third
other.
slot, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's okay. So
He's
yeah,
my dad. Why would he lie to me?
Nope. He definitely seems like this is just something he wants to do, something very nice for you.
Yeah, he's just a kind dude.
Anything particular that you would like the servants to cook up this evening?
Quick question: what are the animals like here? Are there like pheasants and stuff? Are they like fantasy pheasants?
There's a pretty diverse array of wildlife around here. Game fowl are certainly on the menu. Venison is always a choice. Beef, pork. You all aren't too far from the sea. There's actually one of the nearby rivers houses a beautiful arowana type fish, which it grows to be almost 10 feet in length.
Oh damn!
But they're known for their beauty, for they have these long whiskers and fins that wisp behind them like a betta fish on crack, that have these multiple pulsating colors. And even after they're cooked, they have this lichenous algae that grows inside their flesh, which is still luminesces even after it's cooked, and it's actually very nutritious.
Oh damn! All right.
Yeah.
And she'll think and say, spiced fish, lemon cakes, perhaps.
Always the sweet tooth with you, and he'll pat you on the head. Well, go out there and ply your trade, dear.
Yes, Father.
And as he stops, he lingers for a minute.
Something the matter?
No. And he places his hands in the pockets of his coat and seems to just smile as he begins to walk away.
Love you.
He stops at the door and takes his breath in and turns around with a smile and simply gives you a wordless acknowledgement. that says everything that it needs to say. And then he'll make his way out.
Finish getting changed and head to the fields.
And when you get there, Lady Erikson, of course, has she's wearing her full armor kit. She is a knight, and a darn good one, and she always looks impressive in that armor. She fights with 2 longswords. So as you approach, she is actually doing some just quick flourishes, the kind that you know that she does to sort of loosen up muscles and whatnot when she's getting ready to spar and fight and whatnot. And then she will turn her attention to you as you approach. And perhaps you'd like to describe what you're wearing.
Sure. So if this is the, like, we're going full armor here. It's very extra. It's what is it? It's light mail. It's got gold trim, but it's primarily polished steel with a blue tint. Again, because we're extra here. And since she said swords, Igraine has probably like a bastard sword or something that she single wields.
And she'll look you over. Well, and she'll crack her neck. Today's a day where we're going to see exactly what you've learned. And whether or not you're truly worthy to one day wear the colors of Seva. And she'll smile and she'll cross her arms with both hilts pointed up towards her, sort of up towards her face. And she'll give you a salute of the order.
Salute is returned.
And then she sort of does a flourish with each blade simultaneously. And go ahead and roll 3d6.
She's so cool.
Plus your dexterity modifier. And if you have the initiative focus, you may add that.
Okay. Do that. 14.
All right, I will tell you in just a second here.
Also, a quick question. Do I have all the stats that are on my sheet right now? Or, like,
Yes.
am I... Okay, cool.
She has a 17.
Of course she does. She's the best.
All right, so what she is going to do... she is going to... she is going to use a major action to activate her dual weapon style. That's going to give her a +1 on her attack. And so that's fighting.
Is my single weapon style activated, or does that only get activated on my turn?
What does your single weapon style allow you to do?
It gives me extra defense if I'm wielding one weapon.
Yeah, you can activate it if you want. I'll let you have that as a free action because this is
Okay, cool.
a spar, not a fight to the death.
Sure. So that means my defense is currently at 14.
Yes. That is a 15. What is your defense?
14, she hits.
Okay. I forgot to even add the +1. It really is a 16, but I don't think that matters now.
It doesn't. She's just the best, so. Should probably find exactly what this is. So I know how many things I have.
Come on, dice roller. Let's not do this. We're on a schedule here. Wow, that's a hiccup of hiccups. Just our server, or is it all servers? No, it's working just fine on the other side. There it
There
goes.
it is.
It is 12 damage minus whatever your armor rating.
Damn, son. Okay. Armor is 5.
All right, so you take 7 damage as she sort of feints with one blade, this ornate longsword, and as you go to defend against it, she brings the other blade smacking down, and it cuts through into the chainmail.
Damn, son.
And probably leaves a nice gash right across the clavicle, which is shallow to show that there's not killing intent behind it.
Right. She's so cool. Is it my turn then?
It is your turn.
I will attack. This isn't a solar weapon, right? This is just a regular old weapon.
I mean, if you want to use the solar weapon, I'm going to tell you that does plus 6 damage.
Oh, I mean, I don't want to kill, but okay, she just did like 12 damage to me. I feel like we're not pulling punches, right?
Just trying not to kill each other. That's about it.
Right. So if I were fighting with it, I could still try not to kill her, right?
Yes, you can.
Cool.
It's a feature of the game. You can actually pull. You can pull your punch at the last moment.
Okay, awesome. So I will do that because I also get a +1 to solar weapons as a Solari.
Mm-hmm.
So I will swing. 15.
That's a hit, and you have 5 stunt points.
Oh, you're right. How do I play this game again? I know one is like go through armor, which I like. I usually like that one.
There's piercing. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do. There's actually in the Google Drive.
Mm-hmm.
There is so with 5, you could do lethal blow. You can inflict 2d6 extra on your attack. You could do dual strike. You could do seize the initiative. You could do mighty blow twice. It's kind of the same thing.
I want pierce armor.
Okay, so that's 2 points.
Mm-hmm. And then I want let's do that plus defensive stance.
Okay, you still have 1 point.
Yeah, which is probably the stay aware one.
Okay.
For the perception, so I'll roll that. 6 plus 2. Yeah. So I'll get a +1 to my next test.
Okay. Nice. So what you notice is that she is sort of standing near a bush inside this field of yours. It's an ornamental bush, a very pleasant looking sort of like ferns. However, this particular plant has sort of a bit of a nasty habit of when you touch it, it sends a slight jolt through it. So knowing your mentor, you know that she is fairly astute. She's probably well aware of what that is. So you'll know that she'll be focusing on that and you as well.
Okay.
So, as a successful hit, go ahead and roll your damage.
So is the +6 on top of what the bastard sword already does?
Yes.
Oh God. Okay. 15. And
right.
Her armor's halved.
So let's see. Her armor. So you said 15?
Mm-hmm.
So she takes 9 damage. Okay, so yeah, you hit her. You cut in nice and deep, and there's like this sizzling sound as
she has
the
8 armor?
Yeah.
Damn, son. She's so cool.
So as you cut into her with the blade, she stumbles back, and there's sort of blood coming out from underneath the plate from this nice cut into it that you've made. She'll kind of shake her head, and she'll sort of, with one hand, kind of move some hair out of her face that's fallen into it. And she'll smile at you, but it's got that look of like, okay,
Yeah,
we have business now.
The Wonder Woman smile.
Mm-hmm. And what she will do is she will do something you've never seen her do before. With both blades, she sort of does that thing where, like, when you rub one blade across the other, like you're trying to sharpen them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really long and drawn out, and it makes this sort of high-pitched sheen sound. And then each blade begins to glow with, like, this pale blue light. And you can hear the blades as they sort of have this. It sounds kind of like when when somebody's playing wine glasses. You know, when you're rubbing the top of a wine glass.
I think I lagged out for a second.
Okay.
You said each blade starts to glow, and then
it releases this hum, and it's a hum similar to like if you take your finger, wet it, and then you run it across like the lip of crystal stemware.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. And she is going to attack you and use the blade pair's special features to have 2 attacks.
Of course. So my defense is now 16.
Okay.
Which should be fine for her because she's the best.
4 plus 5 because she's using her attack. 15?
Hey!
Does not hit. So yeah, she comes down with the first attack. She smacks down on you, and you manage to bring your blade up, and there's this, this crackling sound as your solar blade meets with this blade. And as you come close, you feel this heat on your face, but it's like the burning of like cold air being blown directly in your face.
She's so cool.
Here comes her second attack.
That one hits.
That's a 17, and because it's a successful attack, she will take a 5-point damage to herself to get a second attack out of that.
Oh, okay.
So let's take that up to...
Does her armor soak that then?
Nope.
Oh.
That is damage she is doing to herself and her armor. It ignores armor.
Okay, sweet.
So, first thing, we're going to resolve this attack. And that is going to be 2d6 plus 5, because these do not do extra damage. They only give you extra attack. So that's 11 damage.
So I take 6.
All right, here comes her second attack.
You mean her third?
Her third, yeah, sorry. Her third attack, and let me just see.
She could do that.
And her constitution's only 4, so she can only do that 2 more times if she gets a successful hit. 18?
Yeah, I think that hits.
That's 13 more damage.
Okay, I take 8. Is that how math works? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Then she's going to do 1 more. Last one does not hit.
Okay.
So basically what happens is as you place the blade up, she starts to do this rolling leap with her blades where the first blade hits and the second blade comes around. And she does 2 full rotations, and the second and the third hit and they cut in, and those blades, they feel like ice. And areas where they cut into through the flesh, like the mail itself starts to frost over. And the skin into the wounds like immediately becomes frostbitten.
Oh, damn.
And the blood that comes out kind of falls out flaky, like red little like chunks of red ruby. And then the third one, perhaps out of desperation, perhaps out of just sheer grit and determination, you take your blade up and you parry it. That last one. And then she comes to a stop as your blade has her second blade in her offhand sort of held, and she's looking at you with her eyes just bearing down into yours, and she's pushing against you, and you can feel that 5 strength that she has behind her wrists.
She's so cool. All right, time for me to swing. So do I get a +1 to this action then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that means I have +5, I think. I think that's how this game works. 13, not great.
Does not hit.
I have 1 stud point. Can I use it to use the... No. Wait, yes, no. I do. The stay aware thing? Or does it only work if I succeed in the task?
It only works okay, so first off, did you add that already, that +1 to your attack modifier?
Yes, I added the +1 because I have a 3 in fighting, so +1 for solar weapons and then +1 for the stay aware thing.
Okay, so then yeah, you no, because your stay aware is already used up on that, so it doesn't boost it up. You're just 1 shy of getting through her defense.
Sure. I was just wondering if I could use the 1 stump point that I got on this to do it again.
No. Okay. Stunts only come from successful tests.
Got
it. So yeah, you pull your blade away and you come quick with a nice. You come down with a pretty competent smash. If you were to hit somebody with this who was, the run-of-the-mill adversary, you'd certainly connect with that. But as you said, because she's so cool, she blocks it. And she shakes her head. You disappoint me, my young apprentice.
The dice roller disappoints me.
And she is going to... 16 hit?
Yeah, that hits.
She's got 3 stunt points. She's not going to use that attack. So she is going to use knock prone, and she's going to knock you back 2 yards with this attack.
Okay.
So 12 damage total, minus your armor.
Just 7.
Okay. And yeah, with that, once she brings the blades down, you kind of get, perhaps you're locking eyes on your blades, and you see the steam coming off as your solar blade is actually starting to grow a little bit of frost on it that's trying to evaporate it as quickly as possible. And that is when she literally kicks you square in the chest that sends you rolling end over end and lying on your back after it's done.
Great.
So, yeah. It's your turn again. You're allowed to use your move action to get back up from being prone.
Yes.
And it's your turn.
Can I get close enough to strike again?
You have to use your move action to do that. So, but you have other abilities.
I do, but okay.
If you're feeling bad about using this, remember that she just literally activated her enchanted blades, which for all intents and purposes are really fucking deadly.
All right, sure. I just need to pull up what this does again because it's on that fancy website that you gave me.
Yeah, it is. Under holy.
Yeah. There it is. Okay, so holy light. What's my willpower up to 30 yards? Spell, you can move it. So it starts its turn there. Okay, so I need to make a willpower roll to activate it?
Yeah, your willpower faith is what you roll instead of like intelligence.
Okay, cool. So get the extra for the faith, so that means I'm rolling 3d6 plus 4. Come on, dice roller. Come on. You can do it.
Oh, while we're waiting for this, what's going through Igraine's head right now?
14, I did it. She's sad. She doesn't want to disappoint her cool mentor. Okay, so it activates and it illuminates up to 30 yards away in reverent light. When a creature enters the area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it's engulfed in holy flames, and it takes 1d6 plus my willpower damage. Okay. She can make a successful willpower test against my spell power to take only 1d6.
All right, well, let's see what she's got here. She only has her willpower, because her willpower focus is self-discipline, not faith. So this is going to be 3d6 plus 2. And what's your spell power?
I think it's 12, because it's 10 plus my... Yes, 12.
She does not succeed.
Okay, so at the start of her turn, do you want me to just roll that now since it's going to be her turn now?
Yeah, go ahead and roll the damage.
6 plus 2. I don't add my faith to the damage, right?
No, it is your willpower faith.
Oh, okay.
It's your willpower faith.
So plus 4. 7.
She takes 7 damage. Let me just go ahead and do her damage here.
Is considered it's only penetrating against undead demons and devils.
Right. Okay, yeah, you hit her with it, and this light sort of shines down on the battlefield. And when it hits her, you kind of see her as she's lost for a moment in this holy torrent. Almost kind of looks like the Bifrost coming down on her, but it's all completely this resplendent light.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it subsides and she steps forward, she seems a little bit singed. Her armor is like smoldering, like, you know, you see like the heat waves coming off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And she cracks her neck, and she just says, "That's my girl."
And it stays active for a number of rounds equal to my willpower, so it's going to be around for at least one more round.
Okay. Yeah, and she is going to come at you again and use her double strike. $13 hit?
No, it's 14.
All right. So then she will do it again. I'm going to say that she is going to go ahead and invest another 5 points. So I'm going to take this up to 26 damage. $12 does not hit.
Nope.
Let's see what this next attack does. And she'll go ahead and spend another 5 points.
So can she do that even if it fails?
She can, but she takes progressively more and more damage for it, and she can only do it for. She can only do it 2 more times after this.
Okay.
12 does not hit, so she's going to take a total of an additional 15. 15 plus 26 is 30. That is 41. Yeah, she's doing a lot of damage to herself. $12 does not hit. And yep, she's going to do another one, so that takes her up to 46 damage.
Damn. Girl just really wants to hit me. It was like, what, six attacks?
Was it 19 hit with 6 hit points?
Yeah, that one will do it.
So she's going to hit you with lethal blow.
Okay.
Because you can actually see like the fact that she's a little bit angry, mostly at herself. And she is going to skirmish you back again.
Okay.
Knock you 2 feet or 2 yards away. But it's going to be 46 plus 5.
Come on, dice
girl.
roller.
Come on. How much health do you have left?
I have 31, so I will take 15, which will bring me down to 16. So I'm not looking great, but I'm still up.
Yeah, so she does that. She does that continuous roll again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until the last one hits that she actually comes down, not with like the blade, but the point, and actually drives it into the male, like down into your shoulder.
That's so cool.
And you can feel, of course, that cold, like just like how it feels to have your flesh being flash frozen.
Yeah, no problem. So as a minor action, I'm gonna move it my holy light back to her because I'm assuming she had to move forward to get me. So that's just a minor action, and then I will attack because now she's in melee range. Fighting. Nope.
But she still has to roll for, what is it, 1d6 or 2d6?
She just has to make a test against my spell power.
Okay.
And that's on the beginning of her turn, which is now. So yeah, she's only going to take 1d6 this time.
Okay.
2.
Her armor soaks that up pretty nicely. So yeah, she's looking rough too, by the way. Like blood is coming out of her nose. However, you notice that as it does, it freezes almost as it trickles out.
Oh, damn.
And you also notice that like her skin has become pale and her lips are actually completely white almost. And you can see frost sort of forming on them. Her eyebrows or her eyelashes and eyebrows all have like frost forming on them.
Damn.
Yeah. This is a nasty, nasty weapon. Or weapon set. 18 hit?
I think that hits.
So it's going to be 2d6 plus 5. 12 more damage.
Which is 7? Is that how math works? Okay.
Yep.
Was that it? She's not going to attack me 5 more times?
She can't do it she can't do it twice in a row. She can't do it 2 rounds in a row.
Oh, awesome. Great. Let's try this again.
No, when I read the stats of this blade, I was like, that's too much. You can do it every fucking round.
15?
That's a hit.
Finally. Okay. So solar weapon does plus 8, 2d6 plus 8. 19.
No, 19.
19.
So she's going to take 8 or... No, she's going to take 11 more damage. That's going to be 57 total. You've got her under half health.
Yay! She could probably take me in another hit because I only have 9 left.
Yeah. What she is going to do is the 2 blades are going to glow. And she is going to stab them into the ground at your feet. So I need to go ahead and make a willpower roll. 2. Yep, that works. Go ahead and make me a test against a target number of 14. This is going to be a Constitution test.
Constitution, okay. No.
Okay.
You said the target number was 14, right?
Yes.
Yeah, then no.
3d6 plus her willpower. You take 18 freezing damage.
Oh, well, I'm down.
So as she slams these 2 blades into the ground, you just hear this crackling around your feet as you see this ring of ice form. And you feel cold air from above you. And when you look up, you just see this torrent of ice coming down to meet this growing sense of cold coming up from your feet. And that's the last thing you remember until you wake up lying on your bed, a little sore, but otherwise fully healed. And
anyone around me?
Miss Erikson is sitting right there with her armor's off, so she's sitting there in her tunic and her tabard and her trousers, sipping from tea, a cup of tea. You can see that she's bearing some of the. She doesn't have a change of clothes with her, so you can actually see where it looks like someone has stitched up her clothes expertly, but they're still stitched up, and hints of blood on them.
Sure. Igraine will try to sit up, probably wince, and say, "I'm sorry, my lady."
There's nothing to be sorry about, Igraine. You fought well and bravely. Previous wives I've had have turned tail and run when it comes to fighting against those blades.
It's not honorable.
But it is very mortal. There's nothing wrong with being afraid. And there's nothing wrong with perhaps losing your nerve. For a bit, anyway.
Well, I had no reason to be afraid. I was fighting you. I knew you would not, might, hurt me, but...
She just smiles at you and nods as she takes a sip out of her cup, pinky up, of course.
I can have someone fetch a change of clothes, or you could borrow some of mine if you'd like.
It's not necessary. I need to ride out and meet up with my men, and tomorrow morning we'll be back to fetch you.
For more training?
There's some happenings going on to the southwest that I'd like you to be at my side with.
Oh, and she looks like, just like so excited, but like so touched. She's like, it would be my honor.
Say your goodbyes tonight, and meet me by the gates at dawn.
How long will we be gone?
No less than 6 months.
All right.
And she pauses for a moment, and if you'd like to roll your perception again, you may.
Because I do so well with that in every single Fantasy Age game that I play with you. Oh, 13. That's not horrible.
I'd say that's enough. You know that she seems to be holding back something.
All right. When she stops, Igraine's just gonna ask, "Is that all?"
There's more, but there have been rumors, and slightly unfounded, but there are rumors, that someone has recently killed a god.
What?
She'll nod.
How is that possible?
There are old tales of weapons that were forged in the War of the Twilight. weapons that were made specifically to slay Ahriman. Lady Shivara possessed one of these weapons that she was meant to use against the gods that fought against Ahriman. She turned it against her patron when she found out that her people were meant to be a sacrifice. That's all that stayed your ancestors' hands from wiping the Shivan out completely.
Which god do they say has been murdered?
The tales are fairly, and understandably, she'll kind of chuckle to herself, embellished. However, and she will kind of pause. The goddess, just let me make sure I'm pronouncing this right, Luminera. And if you would like, you can roll your intelligence religion.
Excellent, I have that. +3. Come on, dice roller. Damn! Why was that on this roll? Why couldn't that have been on, like, why couldn't I have saved that for, like, a boss battle?
You are still the only person who's got trip sixes this far.
Well, thus far, you're not supposed to get them, like, every game. Can I just take that and save it?
I'm going to give you a lot of information here.
Okay.
So have your notepad ready.
Okay.
Okay, so Luminera is the goddess of the sun. She is a demigod. She is one of the children of Sen Solari and Sen Mezzo.
Sen Solari and Sen Mezzo. Okay.
She is one of, like, count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She is the mother of 9 daughters.
Okay.
Who all kind of embody an aspect of creation of some sort, or they all embody a aspect of an element. You have Etheria, which is the goddess of magic. You have Duena, which is the goddess of rivers. You have Eryutan, the goddess of nature. Noxia, the goddess of shadows. You have Telesi, the goddess of the winter winds. You have Vol-Kakama, the goddess of the earthen core. You have Zana, the goddess of flames. You have Zatash, goddess of thunder.
Hold on. Who is the flames one?
Zana, Z-A-N-N.
Zana Flames, okay. Alright, next.
You have Zatash, the goddess of thunder.
Zatash Thunder.
And you have Zephyra, goddess of the wind.
Alright, cool. Got it.
In relation to you, Luminera is the eldest sister of Seva and her sister Ysera.
So this wasn't the one that she was doing the do with?
No. Okay. Ysera is the one that she was doing the do with. It was Luminera that actually was the one that snitched on them.
Oh, okay.
Which your patron doesn't begrudge her for.
Yeah.
Furthermore, with that many successes,
too many successes,
or not that many successes, but with that degree of success, you know that all of the weapons which were known as the divine forged weapons, all of them were destroyed, specifically destroyed by the Solari, because of the fact that they had the potential to kill gods. Which means that either A, the Solari lied, or somebody has found a means to forge one of these weapons again.
Or we missed one.
Or you missed one, yes. However, with that many successes, you know that all of them were accounted for, supposedly.
Ah, so we didn't miss one.
Yeah.
Or they say that they're all accounted for.
Yes. And you know that whatever the case may be about this, that probably every holy order that has a line that they can draw to send Solari itself is probably going to have a very strong interest in all of this, which means that there are going to be holy orders of clerics, knights, paladins, priests, magi, a whole lot of people that are going to be interested in this, which means that this is going to become a very tumultuous time. And
Awesome.
The last thing, little bit of tidbit of information. This is more of a rumor, but you've read it in a few in journals. They're more like manuscripts from from scholars and whatnot. It's more of a personal take, but there are a couple of them that have had this common thread. The only means of forging them were locked away in a vault in a Solari stronghold. And someone believed that a Devara managed to infiltrate that vault and actually took the scrolls that spoke of how to forge these weapons.
Oh, damn.
So yeah, with that degree of success, right? That's what you get. You just got a huge plot dump.
Yeah, no, I got that. I also got the whole pantheon.
Oh no, there's a hell of a lot more than that, but that is the main pantheon that is related to your patron.
Sure. All right, so beautiful mind sequence. As Igraine realizes all this. I think she's kind of speechless and she just nods.
Whatever this journey is going to bring, it will be perilous. You understand?
Yes, my lady.
I don't normally like to say this, but you know that I don't like sugarcoating things. Whoever has done this, they have to be immensely powerful. And it is likely that they are drawing strong support from others that will be drawn to that power. There is a substantial danger of losing your life on this mission. And since you have not sworn an oath of fealty yet that would bind you to my service, other than as my squire, you are within your rights to refuse, of course. You are a paladin of the order. You are not yet a knight of the order.
Well, I'm sure I don't have to remind you that I'm my father's sole heir.
Which is the only reason why I bring it up. You'll be responsible for this city, this estate. We'll be leaving at dawn. If you're not there, I'll know you've made your decision. And I will respect you regardless either way. Alexa, stop.
Igraine will nod.
And she'll lean forward and kiss you on the forehead. Enjoy your evening tonight. And then she will make her way out, leaving Igraine to do as she will.
Immediately go to the stables.
Okay.
Not even changing. Go to the stables.
All right. Derek is there as you walk in, and as soon as he sees you, he immediately kind of gives you that courteous nod. And he's a young, Elvari boy, so he, of course, is a bit, he's probably only started within like the last 2 years, so he's still kind of getting used to like, this is a high noble, and he's like, Lady Igraine.
At ease, Derek.
Yes. Will you be riding out? Should I prepare your horse?
Could you fetch Branyan for me if she's in?
Yes, yes. And he'll scurry off. And when he comes back, this sort of tall, dark-haired Elvari woman steps forward. She's wearing an apron over, a moderately nice dress, and as she sees you, she smiles, and she just simply says, without breaking eye contact, Derek, go to town and fetch a few new leatherworking toolkits. And he's like, Madam, we have some of those that I purchased less than 2 weeks ago. It would seem that we need more, Derek. Please go. And he'll nod. Of course, man. And he'll bow to you one more time, and then he'll run off. And she will step forward.
Yeah.
And,
as soon as he's gone, very quick change in demeanor. Just huge hug.
And she will, of course, return it. She'll embrace you and smile, press her cheek to yours. And then she'll stop as she kind of puts a hand over what she can feel underneath your tunic, which are bandages.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll step back. What did that human barbarian do to you?
Nothing to worry about.
And
We're
she starts
training.
to actually like pull the tunic back to actually look in.
No, it's fine, Branyan, really.
That doesn't look like nothing.
If you want to worry about something, let me give you something more. I want to talk to you about something, but not this.
Branyan will nod, and she'll walk up to the stable door, and she'll slide it closed, and she'll pull the brace down, and she'll walk over to the other, to the smaller door, like the person-sized entrance, not the mount entrance. And she'll pull the latch on it, so that way it's locked. There's that sound of cast iron being slid into place.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll walk up, and she'll take you by take each of your hands in one of hers. What troubles you, my love?
Lady Erikson has asked me to accompany her on a long, potentially dangerous mission. I want to go, but I have a responsibility here too. I wanted to ask if you would join me. Father's given me the day off. If you would like to join me in riding to Norwich, I need to. You and Jacinta are my best friends, and I need you both in order to make this decision.
She takes a moment. Lady Igraine, that's not a decision I can make for you.
I'm not asking you to. I need to talk it over with people that I care about.
She'll put a hand on your cheek. I know who you are. I know your sense of duty. If you were to not do this, I know it would be something you regret for the remainder of your life.
And if I were to lose my life, then Septimania would be without a leader.
Septimania is a town that has many noble individuals in it. It would never be the same. But you always told me to believe in the people of this town, yes?
Of course.
I believe in them that they will lead this place in your honor, in your father's honor, and any of the noble houses that reside here would certainly step up to the plate.
You're right as always. But I still would like to extend the offer to ride with me to Norwich.
She'll bite her lip and she'll shake her head. Unfortunately, I do have a bit too much work to do here today.
Well, I will don't have to leave until tomorrow, so I'll be back to and she kind of trails off because she doesn't want to say that she's going to say goodbye, but like that's what she's going to do.
I know the way to your bedchamber, she'll say with like the coyest of smiles.
Of course you do.
And she'll lean forward to give you a very gentle kiss.
Of course.
And then she'll kind of give you just a playful kind of mocking shove away. Now off with you. I have a lot of work to do and you're in my way.
Yes, my lady.
And she'll undo the two doors and she'll fetch your horse for you.
Awesome. Gonna go on a ride.
All right, so off to Norwich to go see Jacinta.
Yeah.
Okay. As you ride across the Nobles Road, you come towards Jacinta, which is this Solari stronghold. And as you do, you know, there's a hint of rain, sort of perhaps just a nice little, almost like the weather is kind of mirroring perhaps the mood of gravity about this mission. There's a slight rumble of thunder off over the cliffs towards the western sea as the squall is coming in. But as always, as you cross over the borders into Norwich, the plant life becomes far more ethereal, far more magical. And as that happens, you know, the plants they glow and they luminesce, and the creatures that move around are far more fey-blooded. You see some fey dragonkin, which are like these, and they're about the size of maybe like about a turkey. They're like these chameleon-looking. They look like chameleons with wings and these big, sort of bulbous toes, and they sort of hang from prehensile tails from the trees and look down at you with their glowing, their luminescing eyes as you pass by before you come to sort of like looks to be an estate that's made completely out of like brambles and other vegetation, which are all alive and vibrant. You hear the chattering of 1,000 different insects and other creatures. And it all smells faintly of like rose hips and lavender as you ride through.
Headed straight for the estate.
All right. When you're let through by the various Silvari attendants and whatnot, they tell you that Lady Jacinta is in the Sun Garden.
I don't know if she would be going. If sorry, they would be going by Lady.
Oh, sorry. Uh, Lord Jacinta?
Sure. it's
Noble Jacinta.
there's a word for it in Solari, but not in the common tongue.
Hierarch Jacinta. How about
Sure.
that?
Closest translation.
And yeah, this beautiful Silvari woman with hair that is made out of, or this beautiful Silvari in general, with just this beautiful long strands of like green vines and flowering hair is standing there, seemingly trying to get a new sun tree to grow. And they seem to be having this very intense sort of debate as they speak in like plant speech, which is a tongue that you probably have no aspirations or no hope of ever learning, at least, not without a lot of practice. And then they stand up and they look at you. This is an unexpected pleasure. And Jacinta will step forward, setting down their staff.
I didn't mean to interrupt. You looked like you were having a very intense debate.
Well, unfortunately, the sapling thinks that it is not its duty to grow and to grow strong. It's being very stubborn. And they'll step forward and they'll offer out both of their hands.
She'll take them.
You look troubled.
Could always tell.
It's very hard for you to disguise your feelings from me. And they'll lead you over to a bench. Come, sit with me.
She'll follow them.
And Jacinta will sit down, place the hands in their lap, and just sort of cant their head to one side. So, what is it that you wish to tell me?
I have been offered to accompany Lady Erikson on a long, potentially dangerous mission. I want to go. I think I'm going to. I don't know how I'm going to tell my father, but I don't want to leave Septimania without a ruler. But I also didn't want to leave without saying goodbye.
I appreciate that. I suppose your Elvari friend has already spoken to you.
Yes, she couldn't come with me, but I'm sure she sends her regards.
What did she say?
That if I didn't go, I would regret it for the rest of my life, and that the noble houses are more than capable of taking up the mantle if I do not return.
And they'll nod. She knows you far better than I do.
I wouldn't say that. Grew up together.
I understand that it's not all you've done together, but I digress. She's right, of course, you know.
I know. She often is.
So many people overlook the Elvari and their wisdom. Most see them as gutter trash. You and I know better. And she's absolutely right. I perhaps could convince the Lords of Norwich to extend protection and stewardship over Septimania, if you would like it.
If that is something that I can make Cotinus agree to, of course.
It would require, though, an expeditious. They stop to think and really consider their words, and rather than trying to go through all the niceties, they just decide to speak plainly. We would have to go see a priest immediately, and I believe you know why.
It's not how I imagined it.
No, it's not. But sometimes the greatest moments of our lives and the most noble things we can do always come in a form other than what we imagine or even what we hope. Meanwhile, in the background, the squall has picked up and it sounds oddly like a hairdryer.
I mean, if you want to go with that.
But Jacinta will simply stand and will look into Igraine's eyes. You don't have to agree to it, of course. I would do what I can with my own estate to see that that everything that is yours is protected as best I can. And I'm sure Igraine sits there somewhat indecisive, as this is a major life decision.
I mean, if it's not that bad in the background, then I can keep speaking, but
It's not.
okay. So she'll yeah. be silent for a second. So if I don't return, then the plan to unite two cities goes on as normal, but You'd be left a widow.
Well, I would be then, I suppose. But in my long years on the surface of this world, I have come to accept that all things that live must eventually die, even those things that are meant to be ageless. And the sorrow that would fill me would not outweigh my duty.
I do love you. You know that, right?
And they just sort of close their eyes and give you a sage nod. As always, Jacinta has this otherworldly wisdom and this means of carrying themselves with just a grace that seems to be timeless, as if Jacinta walked the Mezzorin in the time of the gods, in the time before the gods, with how sagely they often carry themselves.
I suppose, you need to alert your father.
I'll send a messenger at once, but I don't think we should tarry. I think, given the circumstances, he'll understand.
All right, but when I get back, in 6 months' time, we have a proper ceremony.
Proper ceremony with all the fanfare afforded to such a momentous occasion. And they'll offer out a hand to pull you to your feet.
Yeah, she'll take it.
And she'll gently place they'll gently place a kiss on you. And then, for the sake of brevity, the ceremony, of course, is done with the respect, but in an expeditious manner. A priest and a few of the nobles, Jacinta's mother and father are there, and they, of course, dote on you, as you are a refined Solari woman with elegance, and, of course, with a heart of gold.
And also with land.
And with land, yes. But you can tell that their appreciation for you is built on a foundation of affection. Not just what politically they can gain. They're very sincere people, and it's why the matchmaking probably went off so well, as opposed to some of the other some of the other matches which have been pleasant that you've seen, but you know that some of your peers aren't necessarily. They did it for duty, not necessarily for love. And while their relationship between husband and wife, or whatever the case may be, is one that's based more on duty than affection. So you've been kind of lucky in this regard.
Oh, absolutely.
And when the ceremony is over, of course, Jacinta lets you know that for all intents and purposes, they're willing to go with. They don't want to have, your first night together in a manner as haphazardly as the ceremony was.
Right.
So they're very much willing to say that if anyone asks, that the marriage was consummated immediately following the ceremony.
Yeah, let's not say we did.
Yeah. And before you leave, Jacinta will actually take a lock of their probably the most blossomed part of their hair, and they'll use nature arcana to actually craft it into what feels like an iron bangle almost, but it's made of plant material that doesn't seem to wilt once it's cut from their hair.
I have the coolest spouse. And Igraine will take her one of her rings off, of course. Probably was her grandmother's on her dad's side. So gold, probably has like the house crest on it.
So it's a signet ring, yeah.
Yeah, for Jacinta.
Yeah. So they'll put it on, and the second that you put on this bangle, you'll actually be able to feel Jacinta's heartbeat.
Oh. She holds her wrist close to her chest.
And your spouse will walk you to the actual boundaries of Norwich, hand in hand, and of course, other citizens of Norwich are watching you all leave together, and some of them will bow to you, some of them will offer congratulations. But as you get to the borders, they will help you up onto your horse.
Don't know what to say.
They close their eyes and smile as you feel a warmth in their hands sort of emanate. And you get this general feeling, something passing between the two of you. And you feel the warmth of affection and a sense of loss, a sense of foreboding, but also a deep and overwhelming sense of pride. That Jacinta seems to be very proud to be able to say that they are your spouse, your partner, and that going forward, that their pride will always be with you throughout whatever journey, whatever twists and turns your journey makes.
So Igraine will just bring their hand up to kiss their palm and just sort of close their fingers around it. I will see you again.
What fate has been gleamed to me tells me that you will again. And if you want to roll your insight, or not your insight, but your perception.
Damn.
Damn. You get for the first time that when Jacinta mentions fate, that they're not lying, but you get the sense that perhaps they're a little bit. There's more that they're deliberately holding back.
Right. And I mean, Igraine's kind of doing the same. She's like, I don't know, it's one of those days where it's like, will I see you in heaven or in person? Who knows? Be safe, my love.
Be safe, Lady Igraine, and they'll bow to you.
Give them as much of a bow as I can while on a horse.
Mm-hmm. And then as you ride away, unbeknownst to you, behind you, their eyes close and a few tears fall before turning back into the glade that is Norwich.
Oh God.
And as you ride through the trails through Norwich, the rain begins to fall, and the thunder begins to crackle off in the distance. And of course, you pull your riding cloak up over your head to protect that hairstyle and that.
My hair's perfect always. I'm a magic elf.
Not untrue. However, as you begin to cross that 5 mile mark, you begin to smell smoke. And as you begin to smell smoke, there is you can see that like the clouds have a glow to them as they're a bit too low to the ground, and then you realize that this funnel that is coming down over the area where you know Septimia to be. You see that it's smoke.
So we're galloping.
Yep. And as you come up to the crest of the highest point of the two roads, which sort of winds down into the valley that Septimia is in, you can now see that the entire town is burning. Your estate is in flames. You see that the walls are breached, both in the town and in your estate, and in, of course, the other estates as well. You notice these massive creatures that look to be pulled from the depths of your worst nightmare. Just cutting through buildings, and you can see them as they grab other Solari and humans and whatnot, and they just lift them up casually and squeeze them, and you can hear the cries as crackles of thunder emanate, and you just see in the distance death, wholesale death. You can see the other minions, the foot soldiers, these demonic creatures just having their way with the town in burning it and slaughtering, profaning this once green and verdant place. And you notice that standing not too far down the ridge road to you is a retinue of beings that look very, very ominous in nature. But one of them stands taller than the others and wearing like this horribly malformed armor, and seems to be the leader of them all, standing there. And you notice that it's holding in its hand and seems to be inspecting a glowing blade, which you recognize as your father's.
So how far away is this group, and how far away is the town from me?
The town is probably a good 5-minute ride. You could close the gap within about 30 to 50 seconds between this group.
All right. So, Igraine is just sort of whispering, "No, no, no." And then she, like almost not thinking about it, kicks her horse and starts riding towards this guy. And her nose are getting just louder, and she, as soon as she's within range, she'll point her sword at him. And is it considered like another scene where I can cast Holy Light, or no?
I'm gonna let you go ahead and narrate. Like you pull forward from the depths of your being. Just, it seems like you almost have a more clear path in your grief and in your sorrow. So go ahead and tell me what this empowered holy light does.
So it sort of goes from like her hand directly through her sword, and it's more concentrated. It almost, rather than sort of just emanating from the ground, it almost comes from the sky, sort of in a pillar, which clouds maybe part for like a second, because it's not going to last very long, but it's going to come crashing down on this guy and radiating out to his retinue.
Some of these smaller minions immediately begin to scream and writhe in agony. However, their lieutenants and his captains that are standing there, they turn, and some of them, they shield themselves. However, this being just turns and looks at you with its head cocked to one side, as if it can't believe what it's experiencing right now.
Taking out a spear and charging.
And it will simply take the blade in its hand and it will crush it. And you watch as the pieces just fall to the ground. And the light escapes it. Something that shouldn't happen.
And that's my father's blade, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Just blinding white anger, just charging spear right, headed straight for him.
And as you charge, are you using your solar weapon? Or are you using a spear? You have your sword, which is a solar weapon.
Yeah, but for the charge, I think a spear makes more sense. And then once I get off my horse, then I'll start attacking with the sword, because swords are harder to charge with.
With but a gesture of its hand, it waves a claw up, and its arm is almost 8 feet long, which is proportionate to its long, sinewy body. Your horse lets out a scream as it is pulled apart in probably close to 100 pieces instantly between your legs.
What a dick.
And you come crashing down through just the blood and the gory offal of your horse. And as you hit the ground, your spear slams into the ground, and as you're trying to maintain your grip on it, the haft actually snaps, and you go tumbling. When you land and tumble, the broken haft that's still in your hand actually jabs through your armor into your rib cage, but doesn't put you out yet. But there is an immense amount of pain, and you feel air escape you. And the being sort of just kind of with one hand gestures, and a dark energy forms over top of them, casting out, like eclipsing the light, as if eclipsing the sun. And it makes its way over to you. And what do we have here? Let a sun elf come to fight and die? Is that it?
She's going to stay on the ground and wait until he's like close, and try to go for like a quick, like almost pretending to be more hurt than she actually is. And as soon as he's close enough, go up for like a jab with her sword.
All right, yeah, you jab it into him, and he makes this caterwaul, this insolent witch. And with one hand, it smacks you, and you feel the chainmail just flay away from your body, as the individual rings seem to snap with but a touch of its hand. And really anything from the waist up, as far as the chainmail is concerned, just breaks apart and falls to the ground like rain, like snowdrops around you, clinging as they hit the ground. Does this one have a name so I know what to call it?
She just bares her teeth and is going to go in for another strike with her sword.
And with one hand, it reaches out and takes you by the neck and lifts you up. The other hand, it grabs the blade of the weapon, and it looks at it and then looks at you. Is this weapon a symbol of your pitiful hope?
Can she breathe or like speak?
You can speak. It's strained, but you can speak.
Hope is not contained in a weapon. And she'll spit on his face, because that's all she has left.
He'll just smirk. Then the weapon has no meaning to you. And he shatters it as you watch a dark, sort of dark red and black energy just course through the blade and break it into pieces.
Can I go for a headlock with my legs, since my legs are free?
Go ahead and roll me a strength test with a target number. I'm going to say of 16.
Okay. Strength. What's my strength? It's 2. 18 with 5 stuck points.
So yeah, you tell me what you do.
So he's holding her up by the throat, and she's sort of like her legs are dangling. And when he destroys this weapon, the only thing like going through her mind right now is like she's gonna go down fighting. Like every last second of her life is going to be spent trying to kill this motherfucker. So she sort of grabs his arm to use as leverage, and pulls her feet up, and tries to like wrap her legs around this guy's neck to like hold him in a like also in a chokehold, since he's holding her in a chokehold, and just squeezing, because this is the only thing she has left.
As you do that, he seems to almost find it amusing. The girl has some fight. I wonder what she's hiding in that. And as he says that, you feel his presence inside your head, inside your thoughts. And he seems to be as if, looking through a closet filled with, like your closet, just filled with garb and, and garments and all other sorts of items. He seems to be just rifling through your thoughts.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
And then he stops and he seems to pull 2 away to look at. Oh, so those 2 belong to you, did they? And he lets go. He throws you down hard to the ground. And in that moment, his presence there seems to go in a 2-way street. And he allows you to glimpse this image of your father standing tall in his resplendent golden plate, his holy plate. And you watch as he does battle with this being. And then as his lieutenants streak in from behind and drive spears through his back. And then you watch as he seems to have a brown-haired elf woman held up before him, and he seems to just touch her on the forehead. And you watch as her form twists, and as she writhes, you watch as a demonic essence seems to force its way into her, becoming visible. And you watch as she hits the ground, as her eyes turn red, and she picks up a blade and actually drives it through your dying father's chest, with tears of blood just streaming out of her eyes as she says in her native tongue that she is so sorry.
So Igraine obviously doesn't want to see this. So she's going to try and pull away, but she's going to try and run towards this guy's mind rather than away from it. Because he's letting her glimpse inside his mind, so she's going to try to tear that image away and just keep going.
All right, make me a contested willpower against his willpower.
His willpower is like plus 50. Does faith help here at all?
Give it to you, yeah, because it's against a Devara.
Okay. Not great. Yeah, he has a freaking plus 10. I had to try.
Yeah, you find the walls of his mind just far too much to be able to. Whatever he's doing to you, he's far better at it. Mm-hmm. Probably trained at it, or it's just an innate power that he has.
Yeah, she's just gonna keep tearing at the walls, probably. I mean, of course, this isn't like literal, but if it was, like her fingers would be bleeding.
I could save you from the suffering, elf. Do you know that I was once like you? A Kalari, a celestial elf, the angels of our time. I could make you one of us. You would have power like you've never imagined. Your father refused, and your elf girl was far too weak to be able to handle the true power of a Devara. Much better served as a Deva, a lesser demon. You could be with her again.
She'll grit her teeth, and I'm assuming she's still like on the ground, physically.
Yes.
So she'll try and stagger back up because she doesn't like kneeling in front of this guy. And even though she's obviously wavering, and it's hard, she's probably like holding her side. She'll spit out blood on the ground.
Allow me to show you then what this world has in store. And you see instantly, as if looking over the entirety of the world, you see dark clouds covering the sky and red streaks of lightning coming down as an apparition made of shadow that seems so ominously familiar but so completely foreign bears down on the mountain, the highest peak of Mezzorin. As the combined armies of Mezzorin make their last stand against what you know to be Ahriman, the corrupted god. And then for a moment, you feel as though your mind might shatter, just going upon this. And then there is a voice, a soft, affectionate, and reassuring voice. Child, call to me. Call forth my name, so I may lend you my protection. And you recognize this voice as your patron, a being who has never spoken to you directly before.
She'll clench her fists and scream, save his name.
And all goes black. You know that a very powerful force emanates out from you. But then it's too much for your body to handle the strain to remain conscious. But the image of what you saw bleeds away. And all you feel is the love and affection of something that is so beyond what mortals can ever experience, holding you close, telling you that it's going to be okay, as if a very motherly voice and a motherly presence is holding you close and stroking your head. And after those moments, there's only fleeting images and memories of Lady Erikson gently stroking your head as you feel yourself being carried along in a wagon. And you know that days pass, but slowly your mentor nurses you back to health. Nights spent wrapped up and bundled in soft blankets and furs as you know that you're traveling and you know the retinue that you're with. And the priests and healers tend to you day in and day out, and Lady Erikson rarely leaves your side. After 2 weeks or so pass, You finally wake up one morning with enough energy and enough ability to be able to actually pull yourself together. The fragments of that day and your mind being that were held together by Seva's will have finally mended enough that you can make use of your faculties.
First thing, do I still have the bracelet?
Yes.
Can I still feel the heartbeat?
Yes.
I think she just like puts a hand over that bracelet, just feeling the heartbeat, trying to focus on that because everything else hurts too much. So she's just trying to focus her breathing on that and just hold that close because thinking of anything else is it's too hard.
You notice that some light flickering outside of this covered wagon comes as someone approaches, and you see Lady Erikson hop into the cart with you. She's only clad from the waist down in any kind of armor. Chest up, she's just got the tunic on and what looks to be like the leather straps that her armor hooks onto. Looks like you're finally awake. I was beginning to worry.
Throw my arms around her and just press my face into her chest. I wasn't strong enough. Sorry. Wasn't strong enough. Wasn't strong enough.
I know, child. None of us were. We barely held back. We barely held the inn that we were in. I couldn't even make my way across the town. I lost some of my best men. We barely made it out alive. We were lucky when we found you on the road.
Why? Why did this happen?
That being who perpetrated the attack, Nurgle, a Devara pit lord, is looking for something. He sent his best and brightest to your estate. I believe your father was hiding something.
She'll kind of pull away just enough to like look up at her, and I mean she's still like shaking. No, we don't. No.
In the ruins of your estate, we looked for survivors, Igraine. We found a large hole over a keep that led down to a vault. There were powerful magical wards that had been destroyed, and the vault was empty. Your father's diplomatic estate in the Empire. I'm headed there. I'm going to leave you in a town called Mezzorin. The noble family there are kind and hospitable. You need time to recover before you can join me.
Just nods. Want to. Going. To get back what's mine.
She'll nod, and she'll reach over into a chest that has the marking of her house on it. And she flips open the latch, and she reaches down into it, and she places something in your hand before stepping out of the wagon.
Look down at it.
As she hops down, she looks back at you to watch you as you look at it, and it is the pendant from a certain stable worker's neck.
She just cries and holds that and her bracelet close and just rocks back and forth with these just in her lap.
She was given a quick end. She was too far gone. I made sure to do it myself. And we buried her next to your father.
Thank you.
Take this time to train, to mourn, and to collect yourself. When I come for you, be ready.
Nods again and just sort of keeps whispering thank you as she says she's gently sobbing.
And as we leave Igraine to mourn on her way to Gwydirin, this is where we will end our tale. So, thank you for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching.